Hi everybody, welcome to our WIN video about helicopters. This is going to help you answer a little bit who was Leonardo da Vinci, what did he have to do with helicopters, and what is an ornithopter?
Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452, in Vinci, Italy. By age 14, he was apprenticing under the famous artist Verrocchio.
One of Leonardo's greatest contributions to painting was his introduction of the idea of sfumato, which essentially means smoky, and is a way of producing atmospheric perspective in paintings.
Da Vinci became a master artist in the Guild of St. Luke at age 20, and in 1482 moved to Milan and began taking commissions from wealthy patrons.
One of the earliest complete works he did was the Annunciation, which has that spectacular background that he had perfected.
The most famous work and the most important one that Leonardo produced while in Milan was his Last Supper for the refectory of the Church of Santa Maria della Grazia.
He left Milan in 1499 and traveled throughout Italy, working for a number of different patrons. During the early 1500s, Da Vinci also began painting the Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa is one of Leonardo's most important works. It's today one of the world's most famous paintings.
I can't think of any other work that has so consistently fascinated people. Leonardo went to Rome to work for Pope Leo X in 1513, and he stayed about 3 years.
He spent his final years in the employ of the King of France, producing works for him as well as for other members of the French nobility.
For Leonardo da Vinci, to fly was a dream that haunted him and inspired him to design a host of incredible flying machines. Today, many consider him the grandfather of modern aviation.
So it was the first time that any kind of engineering discipline had been put into the design of an aircraft. Up to that point, it had been either mythology like Icarus and Daedalus, or these poor guys who strap wings to themselves and jump off a tower or a wall. Leonardo da Vinci thought about the materials, he thought about the sizing, the proportions. He observed nature and took from nature what had to be taken in his mind to make it work.
Like the ancients before him, Leonardo's fascination with flight began with the observation of birds, which he studied for most of his life. In his mid-30s, Leonardo began making detailed drawings of birds, seeking to explain the dynamics of their wings. Over time, Leonardo began to see patterns in the dynamics of a bird's wings that resembled aspects of his other interests, especially mechanics. A bird is an instrument working according to mathematical law, he wrote. And those laws were within the capacity of man to reproduce with all its movements. Soon he began experimenting with a wing concept that more closely resembled those of birds, and later bats. These inquiries culminated in the designs for Leonardo's Ornithopter, a flying machine that flapped its wings just like a bird.
There are many things about bird flight and bat flight that seem on the face of it to be an inspiration for full-scale flight. They do it so effortlessly.
Leonardo's Ornithopter is a true original, the first in history. Based on several drawings, the composite design featured a two-winged airship powered by human strength. The wingspan exceeded 33 feet, slightly less than a classic modern Piper Cub. The skeleton frame of each wing was to be made of pine, then covered in raw silk and starched taffeta, to create a light but sturdy membrane. For power, the pilot would pump a set of back pedals using an alternate leg motion. A hand crank increased the energy produced, while a head harness operated both the rudder and elevator, allowing the now very busy pilot to steer. Leonardo realized that a bird's feathers weren't necessary for flight, but in order to generate the needed lift and thrust, the ornithopter's wings would need to twist as they flapped.
If you just have a flat wing, one that isn't capable of twisting, you'll go nowhere. You'll just stir up the air. For a wing design like Da Vinci's, you have to have twist. And I think he understood that, so that the wing would twist on the downstroke and twist the other way on the upstroke.
Nearly 500 years later, in 1991, Professor James Deloria and a team of his students launched the first remote-controlled, engine-powered ornithopter in history. Inspired by Leonardo's designs, the scale model proved that a larger manned ornithopter was indeed possible. Today, Deloria is even closer to fulfilling Leonardo's dream. Housed at the Toronto Aerospace Museum, this full-scale manned ornithopter features a 42-foot wingspan, proprietary wing elements, and a powerful engine-driven central yoke that flaps the wings at a rate of 1.2 cycles per second, driving the ornithopter forward at more than 50 miles per hour. But even if this design differs from Leonardo's original, the inspiration remains the same.
Leonardo da Vinci died on May 2nd, 1519, in Ambros, France.